it makes sense for that to be a much more competitive environment than Alibaba being able to come in on Amazon's turf in the United States. Their strategy here is to charge like half the fees than what Amazon charges. There's basically been a whole lost generation in Europe. Let's look at Amazon and Alibaba. So Alibaba is moving into Europe. We were covering yesterday on the show how Alibaba is trying to do Alibaba business in North America. I don't see it taking off or really picking up. Primarily, one big reason would be the name and the lack of trust that I think a business customer is going to place into Alibaba business in the United States, amongst a few other reasons that we spoke about yesterday. So Alibaba is trying to move into Europe. It makes sense for that to be a much more competitive environment than Alibaba being able to come in on Amazon's turf in the United States. Alibaba is starting to go more into Eastern European countries first, and then trying to get into Spain and some things like this that this article is talking about. Basically, with Alibaba, their strategy here is to charge like half the fees than what Amazon charges to sellers, and to try to woo sellers to come and put product and put inventory onto the platform. I think they could be successful. There's a vacuum, and there has been a vacuum in Europe of large tech monopolies, large tech platforms in general. That's why Rocket Internet and other kind of like incubator startup firms like that have been very successful in Europe, because basically what they do is they look at trends in the US tech community or the Chinese tech community. They copy those businesses and spin them up in Europe. And there's basically been a whole lost generation in Europe where, because Europe has had a whole lack of any tech protectionism of any kind, well, they have like weird tech, they have like GDPR, which actually doesn't help keep out foreign tech companies from coming in and obliterating any domestic startup competition. It just, as we've spoken about, it actually helps the large tech monopolies and hurts the up and coming tech companies and the incumbent traditional businesses. We also covered that yesterday. Anyway, I think Alibaba could be successful in Europe. I think, yes, they're trying to get supply here. The bigger thing for me is, how do they get demand in Europe? Alibaba should have a much easier job of getting supply than, I would say, demand in a market like Europe. Same thing in the United States. That was also my other issue with Alibaba business coming into the United States. So this article really just talks about they're cutting fees, and that's pretty much their mechanism to try and get businesses to come sell on Alibaba. Some of these businesses in this article, a few of these fashion companies said, Alibaba's too cheap. We don't want our brand associated with cheap stuff on Alibaba. Again, this just goes back to a demand thing, right? What kind of customers is Alibaba going to bring to the table? I like Eastern Europe as a place to start. And then the real battle would be in Western Europe, where Amazon is much stronger. But there's definitely a battle zone: Eastern Europe, Southeast Asia, India. Probably eventually we'll start to see Africa more on the map here for large tech monopolies from US and from China battling it out. Looks like now Eastern Europe is a new war zone between Alibaba and Amazon. We'll see how that pans out. The last point on this is that they have AliExpress, which is the payment platform, which linked to Alipay and all these kinds of things. So what Alibaba is able to bring to the table is the payment platform, their logistics and fulfillment that they have through AliExpress and Ant Financial. And are they going to be able to put those two things together, in my question, to solve for demand and put a compelling offering together for Eastern European consumers? They could do it. And there isn't any, say, very large incumbent domestic tech marketplace platform that's local to Eastern Europe, which would maybe have a stronger affinity or already have set user behavior expectations in Eastern Europe. So this could work. And this could be an interesting model to see Alibaba expand outside of Asia or Asia proper, and actually into, say, the European continent. But I think North America is going to be much, much harder. Hi, this is Alex from Winner Take All. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the content. Feel free to leave a comment, ask us questions, and definitely make sure to join us on our next live stream.